Okay, let's do it. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday afternoon here from the DraftKings Sportsbook Studios. We are going to get into the Julio Jones conversation because you know that is the name on everybody's lips today. It's why we bumped up the production time. We wanted to make sure that you guys had the opportunity to react damn near in real time to the Titans acquisition of Julio Jones. We're going to go into all of the pertinent information. We're going to catch you up on the financials, how much room exactly they're going to need to clear to get this thing done. Super Bowl aspirations, and because it's the typical Sunday show, we got this as a free site as well. You guys are hype in the comments section, and I'm ready to get going. Before we get going, you guys need to share this show, though. If you're with us on Twitter, go ahead and do as I've just done. Retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That is how we will get things going here on Twitter for your friends who are interested in talking about Julio Jones. I'm sure there are many. If you're with us on Facebook Live, it's a very quick share. Share now to public. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to this channel. Twitch, do the exact same. Maybe throw us a like on the video if you're feeling extra generous. Because, we're feeling generous too. That's why we bumped up the primetime show by almost 8 hours to get you guys up and running so we could talk about this thing together as soon as the news came out. And now that more of you are here, we can go ahead and begin the show officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford, the name that you know, the brand that you trust. For nearly 40 years in Middle Tennessee, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Start making money today with the promo code A2Z Sports that you see behind me in the award-winning, the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage is where you go for your dream address without the stress here in Middle Tennessee, or if you're trying to take advantage of this real estate market, sell for more at GaryAshton.com. And of course, Brymak Mechanical, BRYMAK. That's Brymak.com. Satisfaction guaranteed on each and every one of your HVAC needs. Okay, let's effing go, says Billy Scott. Cyclops is just screaming Julio. You know what? Why don't we give A.J. Brown some love before we get things going? Before I ask you guys your Two Rivers Ford take, A.J. Brown, Arthur Juan Brown, has now recruited, in part, Quintorris Lopez Jones.
Julio! That's what they're going to say when you make a catch, when you make a touchdown. They don't even do that for me. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. And look what I'm wearing. Your first Titan jersey. I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm going to sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tannehill, Mr. Finger Roll himself. Every time, Air Hill. Listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl, year 2. Not a big deal. Kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era, of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
And you know what he did, baby? He came home. Julio Jones is now a Tennessee Titan. John Robinson got it done. A.J. Brown and his recruiting pitch got it done. Julio Jones for a second-round pick in 2022, a fourth-round pick in 2023. The Titans take on the salary of Julio Jones, about $15 million and change in salary. The Falcons have to eat about $7.5 million. Also, the Titans get a sixth-round pick that comes from the Falcons with Julio Jones. This is it's like art, what has been done here. Something that was critical for them to be able to sustain. And we'll get into all of the details on it here in just a second. But first, I want your Two Rivers Ford take. Give me one word to describe your feelings about the Titans trading for Julio Jones. One word to describe the Julio Jones trade. Let me know in the comments section, on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, on Twitch, We need to know how you guys are feeling, although many of you have filed in. It's clear we're going to have a big show today. That's exactly why we thought we'd bump it up by about 8 hours. What is one word to describe your emotions about the Titans trading for Julio Jones? While you guys do that, I will tell you about the people who present the Two Rivers Ford. Actually, let's read some of your comments first, and then we'll get to the Two Rivers Ford take. Finally says, oh, God damn it. You guys are moving quick. I found a comment, and then immediately it got flushed away because you're moving so fast. I love to see that. Epic says TL Thrash. Boner says Timothy. Tim Othy. Tim, if it lasts more than 4 hours, maybe you don't got to call a doctor. It's going to last until February because the Titans are now in Super Bowl contention, baby. That is going to be exciting for you and apparently your male genitalia. Needed, says Cody Branch. Hyped, says Ronnie Sneed. Optimistic for Bobby Time. Relief, says G-Man on base. One more time for the people in the back. AJ Brown. Julio.
That's what they're going to say when you make a catch, when you make a touchdown. They don't even do that for me. Just hear me out. And look what I'm wearing. Your first Titan jersey. I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm going to sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tannehill, Mr. Finger Roll himself. Every time, Eric Hill. Listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl, year 2. Not a big deal. Kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era, of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
AJ Brown on TikTok, out there killing it. Rich Optifoo says Julio. That's all people are going to be saying, basically, until the Titans kick off on September the 12th. Your Two Rivers Ford take, one word to describe the Titans trading for Julio Jones. Scary, says Andrew Lewis. There, I'm trying to keep up on Twitter, man, but you guys are peppering me with comments. I'd love to see it. Steve Haggard says, I want to giggle like a little girl. That's okay. You can giggle like a boy. You can giggle like a girl. You can do whatever you want. Lit for Justin M. Turner. Disgusting, says Nate Torres. It's going to be something. I'm going to tell you how big an impact this is here in just a second, right after I tell you about the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. Since 1983, that's almost 40 years in Middle Tennessee, Two Rivers Ford has been providing you exceptional American-made Ford vehicles just 7 miles east of Nashville International Airport. Go pay them a visit in Mount Juliet. Test drive any of their new or pre-owned Fords that you will fall in love with as soon as you head out there. You'll also get to work with their non-commissioned sales staff that put no pressure on you throughout the course of the car buying experience. Two Rivers Ford. I'm excited. I can't get the words out fast enough. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. What a time to be alive, baby. Two Rivers Fords need a Julio truck, says Cedric. That's what I'm saying. Taurus Jones, according to Cohen Matney. Hold on, going to order Uber Eats to celebrate, says El Boogie 808. Go ahead and stack the box. We dare you, says Montreal Titans. So let's take this piece by piece, okay? Because there's a lot of information that I've had to process. So do you remember? Okay, so Logan Poff says, Buck, do you remember last week when you were saying just how unlikely this was? Come on, big dog. No, I don't remember that at all. In fact, I told you that I was pretty confident about this. In fact, I told you about conversations that I had with people inside the Titans facility that were supremely confident. I went out, what was that? That would have been Friday. I had a bunch more conversations about the Julio Jones situation on Friday with people inside the Tennessee Titans facility. And the amount of confidence that they were exuding about this Julio Jones deal was something that just entrenched my belief that now, if you'd have told me, Saturday, this morning is Sunday morning, the news came out, an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. If you'd asked me Sunday morning, because I hadn't heard any movement about it until Ian Rappaport got it first, hadn't heard any movement about it. If you'd asked me Sunday at 8:30 a.m., Was it the Titans or the field? I probably would have still taken the field because it's a very, very difficult thing that they've just pulled off. But the Titans still were absolutely the favorite. The Titans were the easiest team to make this trade work for the Falcons. The pressure was on the Falcons. I've talked about it all week long. They can't sign. No, well, now they can, but they couldn't sign. They couldn't even sign their draft class until they got Julio Jones off their books. So, Logan, I don't remember what you're talking about because all I did last week is pump you guys up. I wasn't trying to gaslight you. This has been the conversation. Now, it's unfortunate I couldn't get the trade information before somebody like Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter did. Such is life in the world of reporting. I'm pissed about that, but also I'm excited because it's going to be a fun season to cover. It's been trending this way for a while. The Titans knew that they were the front runner for this thing. They knew all they needed to do was put a second-round pick out there, a fourth-round pick next year, sit on their hands and say, yeah, Atlanta, we'll take the salary. All we got to do is restructure Ryan Tannehill, and we are on our way. Brett Kern shouldn't see the field this year, says Kevin Tubbs. Buck, this is really going to help our young CBs we drafted. They're going to be up against Julio and Arthur. Juan Brown, tighten up, says King Solomon. Well, they got to get on the field first. Right? Caleb Farley and Elijah Molden are practicing right now, so we'll see what that looks like for the foreseeable future. So let's see. I just hope Julio stays healthy, says J.A. Bernal. Diana Rossini is eating crow right now, says Devin Chester. Yeah, I mean, Diana called it a long shot. What was that? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And I came back on here and told you. I talked to Diana. I said, respectfully, I'm hearing different things. At this point, you saw Mike Florio's reporting about the expectation around the league being that the Titans would trade a second-round pick to get Julio Jones. Ended up being a fourth-round pick as well. Colts season just ended, says, is it Olivier or Oliver? Either way, he is saying the Colts season just ended. Anthony Acevedo. Either way, Anthony says, Zach said there was no chance. Please, Buck, please grill anyone coming up with that dumb. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to grill anybody tonight. I'm just saying, you always said the chances are quite low on the Instagram question, says Chris Cole. 100%. The chance, listen, you guys, I understand how you're doing the analysis in retrospect, and I've told you the information that I got. I've told you the conversations that I've had. If you want to take them at face value, that's fine. I'm not going to backtrack on saying, yeah, if you'd have told me the Titans are the field, I'm taking the field every time because again, the percentages, the chances, low 4.5. Because somebody asked me to put a number on it on the Instagram. Chris Cole WSU is asking me about the Instagram questions I do on the Titans A to Z or on the A to Z story. Titans Question Tuesday. Shout out Gary Ashton. He presents them. And so what he's saying is you always said the chances are quite low on Instagram. No, I said that you asked me to do it on a scale out of 10. I said a 4.5 out of 10 the last time that we did that. 45% chance against the field. 30, not counting Atlanta, 30 other NFL teams with a 45% chance for the Titans. Those are good odds. So you guys can get all butthurt. You guys can get all bent out of shape. You guys can, do the analysis in retrospect if you so choose. But I'm 45% chance what I was putting on it as late as last Tuesday. I don't think those are quite low at all. In fact, given the rest of the field, I think that's quite high, Chris. So, it's not, you're not going to do the gotcha thing out here with me when I've been talking to you about this. On and on and on we go. Buck, you did your job, and that's to report based on the info that you have at the time. Buck, you don't need to give anybody a reason you're doing so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing this to justify my own thing. I'm just trying to explain to everybody what's happening. Listen, okay. Evan C. White says, doesn't matter. We got him. Who cares now? Yeah, it's fine. So let's get into the implications of this Julio thing, because I think this has my one word. You know what? I'll give you my one word here in just a second. Well, no, I'll do my one word now. I'm all over the place, right? We're doing primetime. What is it? 7 hours early at this point. I called producer Reed. I said, Reed, you want to do primetime in about 15 minutes? I've just written an article. I've just gotten some confirmation on the Julio stuff. The Titans made it official just now with Jim Wyatt from their team's official website. I said, let's try and ride this thing out. Leave the rundown blank. We're going to do it on the fly. So producer Reed is just as scrambling. I'm making producer Reed scramble more than anybody today, to try and make sure we get you guys this content right out the gate. So let me give you my one word now, and then we'll get into why exactly I feel that way. One word to describe the Titans trade of Julio Jones. Jared says hyped. Lane says contenders. Julio is the only word for Davidson Crook. Is Vrabel going to call the offense now too, says EA. I mean, he probably thinks it could. This ought to be pretty easy with A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Josh Reynolds as your three. You're in great position. Derrick Henry, of course, the 2,000-yard rusher, back-to-back NFL rushing champ, the king. You still probably could use a little tight end help, but at this point, I'm not all that bent out of shape about it. My one word is masterpiece. And I'll explain to you why it's a masterpiece here in just a second, right after I tell you about the fine folks at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's America's top-rated sportsbook app. It is the best place for you to go in and get in on all of the action, whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever. NFL futures, if you want to place a bet on the Titans to win the AFC South right now, you probably should have done it this morning because the odds have dramatically shifted in your team's favor. You can do all of these things in the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Promo code A to Z Sports is how you get it done. America's top-rated sports book. El Boogie 808 says, I'm so excited. Well, we in here today, says John Bell. 24 Sherlock 24 says this was definitely the plan pre-draft. Attaboy John. They had a feeling. They had a feeling that they could get something done. Now, whether that something was Julio, I don't know. But they felt confident enough in their position to be able to add somebody to this team at the wide receiving position that they could take Des Fitzpatrick in the fourth, and it wouldn't cause them any kind of great angst. This is a masterpiece for one reason and one reason alone. There are many reasons, but this one reason in particular kind of blew me away. Excuse me, I got to respond to a text really quick. Sorry. as you can imagine, my phone is going quite crazy. So if people are calling me, trying to get in touch with me, and I want to make sure that I respond to people in time. But anyway, so masterpiece for this reason, because German Titans, as Timothy points out, you stole the headline of the German Titans picture you were linked to. No, I didn't steal it. I gave credit. I used it. I feel no hesitation about that whatsoever. Masterpiece 100%, because what the German Titans account tweeted me is the 2016 starting offensive lineup for the Tennessee Titans, which was John Robinson's first year. And he juxtaposed it against the 2021 projected Titans lineup. Now, 2016 was after John Robinson had already done some work on the roster. So instead, what I did is I went and looked at 2015 when things were much more bleak before John took over. The reason really why all these people got fired. Your starting offensive lineup in 2015, the year before John Robinson took over, Marcus Mariota's rookie year, starting running back Antonio Andrews, who just got arrested for biting a girl's nose in pursuit of trying to get her phone. I don't know why that was indeed the case. So Antonio Andrews, Marcus Mariota, Kendall Wright, Harry Douglas, my friend, but also a dramatic downgrade from Julio Jones. Those four players. Tight end is a little different because they still, I don't think they're substantially better at tight end quite yet. But so from Kendall Wright, Harry Douglas, Marcus Mariota, and Antonio Andrews to Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Man, that is unlike anything that I have seen in quite some time. Remember the days when our number one was Nate Washington, says Baby Dylan one. I mean, listen, it's crazy to me. Damn, he tripping. Bit her nose, says Cedric. Yeah, go read the article about Antonio Andrews. You literally think he got arrested on Thursday or Friday. Either way, it's wild. I don't want to hear any John Robinson slander. I mean, he has the opportunity to screw some stuff up in the future. But in the meantime, like all of these people are breathing down John Robinson's neck. I know that I get people commenting saying I'm a John Robinson defender. I don't think there's much. I don't need to defend this man. He just went and got Julio Jones. Like, this team is substantially better. This team is set to contend. Watch out, Tampa Bay and Kansas City. the Tennessee Titans are right up there in the same conversation. The defense has been retooled. The offense was going to take a step back by some stretch of the imagination with the pieces that they lost. They lost about 45% of their receiving production. 3 players left. You're bringing one in Julio and in Josh Reynolds. We'll see what they still have yet to do at tight end. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be trade or a free agency addition, but at this point, this is something that I don't need to defend this man. This man's record defends itself. All he does is win. All he does is improve the team. All he does is try and make your team better. Keep swinging, baby. No matter how bad the Jadeveon Clowney thing hurt, no matter how bad he looked after Isaiah Wilson, this is somebody who is above average compared to his peers at his job, and he continues to prove so year in and year out. I don't need to defend Don Robinson. He's doing it himself. He bit my sister's nose. Why? Bit your sister's nose, says Justin Briley. Well, I hope your sister's okay. I hear Julio has a unit, says Cam Arnold. Well, I'm not going to do any reporting on that. But I hear Julio has a unit. You guys are gross. But given what you know, how much does the Arthur Smith connection play into this? Says Tommy Noble 838. Well, I mean, I don't want to completely rule out Art's connection to the Titans, but like Art's not the one pulling the trigger on this deal. Terry Fontenot is the GM. Arthur Smith is the head coach. Like if it was a head coach, like president of football operations type situation, if he was like if he had a joint title, then I would say it probably had more to do with it. But Arthur, I'm sure is kept aware of where they are in the trade discussions, and obviously Arthur knows the place that they would be sending Julio to. But in terms of like pulling the trigger on this thing, it's Terry Fontenot. I don't want to completely discount Art, but I just don't think that I don't think that Arthur would have like a big role to play in being able to get this deal done. Alex M reported for spreading false news, says G on YouTube. I don't know who Alex M is, but apparently he's okay. Well, G, argue amongst yourselves in the comments on YouTube, if you so choose. This means a lot of competition at the 4th and 5th wide receiver spot. Some wide receivers will have to be dropped. Yeah, but that's okay because your top 3 is nasty right now. Our preseason opener is about to be lit, says Max Osberg. Why? Julio's not going to play against Atlanta. AJ's not going to play against Atlanta. Derrick Henry's not going to play against Atlanta. Who cares about the preseason opener? I don't give a shit about the preseason opener. I'm looking at Arizona on September the 12th. That's going to be lit. You can keep the preseason. I'll be down in Atlanta, but it's not going to be those guys playing. I'm going to be watching like Cam Batson and probably some Des Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Kaiser. But like the preseason opener, for what? I just can't imagine how we would have handled Julio winding up in Seattle or New England. Would have been a headhunt for J-Rob. Unfortunately, well, you don't have to worry about that, Brooke, because you have him. Now you need to get Arthur back on your radio show. Buck, says Jeff Sawyer. Yeah, I mean, what did I offer Arthur for Julio? This was the week after the draft. So this was the first week of May. The first week of May, I offered Arthur Smith, because he came on the radio show that you can hear from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a bunch of great guests for you guys tomorrow on the radio show. You're not going to want to miss it. So I offered Arthur, I said a first-round pick, Mike Vrabel's chest pad, and Taylor Lewan's bus for Julio. Do you accept? And Arthur basically he laughed. He got a kick out of it, and then he all but told me to kick rocks, basically. So we'll see if Art wants to come back on the radio show lately. Alex M says we got fleeced big time. Man, if you're someone who's thinking that today, I literally can do nothing for you, Alex. Like if you think that the acquisition of Julio Jones for a 2nd and next year's 4th is the Titans getting fleeced, like, buddy, you got your perspective needs adjusting is all I will say to you, because this is not something that I think anybody else would agree with at this point. Even if he plays like 6 games, which God forbid, God forbid something happen to Julio Jones or anybody at this point. But I mean, you guys see that I threw the comment up there for you guys to see for yourselves in front of the next to the primetime logo. Alex saying that the Titans got fleeced. I mean, even if he does not live up to the expectations that we are currently setting for him. I think that's completely and totally ridiculous. You want your GM to try and keep you competitive. What did he do to try and keep you competitive? He went out and got one of the baddest, I almost said the word, one of the baddest MFers to ever play the sport, to ever play the position. An all-pro, a 7-time Pro Bowler. Julio Jones is a bad man. 51 catches, 771 yards in 9 games. Not just that, though, Jeff Nichols, because Rep Bryan from Titans Radio sent me this stat, and I put it in my article earlier today. He had 16 plays for 20-plus yards, explosive plays, which is what this offense needed. He had 2 plays over 40-plus yards, and that was, what is supposed to be, what everybody is telling me is the lesser version of Julio Jones. In the 6 seasons prior to last year, he had 1,300 receiving yards every year. The touchdown totals don't necessarily, he doesn't score touchdowns the way that you think Julio Jones might score touchdowns, but that's because he's Julio Jones and he attracts everybody's attention. So Calvin Ridley and like Austin Hooper, when he was an Atlanta Falcon, could score the touchdowns. It's something that is spectacular to me to see in this offense, because now as your defensive coordinator, you're going to have to decide, who do you devote attention to? Do you devote attention to A.J. Brown? Do you devote your attention to Julio Jones? Or do you try and stack the box against Derrick Henry and let the 2 wide receivers burn you down the field? It's a problem for defensive coordinators. The Titans just made things infinitely more complicated for teams that might try to stop them. We have 2 divas at wide receiver in the locker room. The locker room is about to be toxic. Alex, do you hate? Do you hate? And I don't care whether you hate them or you love them. I'm just curious. Do you not like the Tennessee Titans? Are you just somebody who I have zero? AJ Brown is not a diva. AJ Brown is like a big ass kid. He's just out here doing TikToks. He's having fun. Julio, I hear, is a little difficult to wrangle behind the scenes. But what do you give a shit about a little bit of diva in the locker room? And I don't even think Julio Jones is a diva. The call into Shannon Sharp thing was not even on Julio. I don't get what Alex is doing in the comments on YouTube, but if you're just trolling, that's fine. I just don't understand it. How long do we have Julio? Says Magic Devon. He's under contract for 3 more years, but I saw Kaharski report earlier that they're already talking about, how to financially maneuver his contract, whether that's an extension, whether that's a restructure for Julio himself. I don't think that the restructure is something that would make sense for Julio, but they could definitely explore an extension that makes his salary cap number come down. Now, you do remember this. So Kevin Johnson retired, the cornerback, retired on Friday. He was a Texans first-round bust, played for the Browns last year. Titans signed him during free agency, during the second or third wave of free agency. And then he retired on Friday, and everybody was making jokes about, well, does Kevin Johnson love ball? But here's why it's important, because Kevin Johnson retiring gives you back $2.25 million that you would have otherwise had count to your salary cap. That's a big, it's not a big amount of money, but it's enough to make a difference while you're trying to go through the financial gymnastics of what it's going to cost to add Julio. Julio's got a $15.3 million base salary. His cap hit is much higher. So right now they could be exploring things like an extension to try and bring his cap hit down, even though his base salary is something different entirely. Let's move on. So that's what BR looks like, says Monty Lou. Who are you talking about? Me? Talking about what I look like? Yeah, this is what I look like. Shout out to me. Julio can do whatever the hell he wants, says Kron Oski on Periscope. CJ Simmons, do you feel like the defense is better than last year? I have no idea until I see him play. Extend Ben Jones, says Shrike. Yeah, now they can start to explore things. But give your opinion on how much you guys like Fulton, Molden, and Farley will benefit from having to face Julio and AJ every day in practice. I can't give you that opinion because because Molden and Farley aren't practicing yet. So there's no opinion for me to be able to give. I'm sure it would be good, sure, but they can't get on the practice field right now. So I wouldn't think too much about that. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves at this point. It has to be, right? It can't get any worse as Pratik, I think, is talking to somebody else, not me. Where did he play college ball? Who play college ball? What are we talking about here? David Messick, you asking me where Julio Jones played college ball? Julio Jones played college ball at Atlanta, and I don't know if I'm being trolled or otherwise. Anyway, let's move on. Super Bowl aspirations. The question that I have for you guys is, where would you rank the Tennessee Titans in the NFL right now? Where would you rank this team in terms of the 32 other NFL teams right now? Give me your number 1 to 32 if you so choose. If you think they're the worst team in the league, then we're having a different conversation entirely. But on a scale of 32 teams, 1 to 32, where do you think the Tennessee Titans rank now with Julio Jones on the roster? Let me know in the comment section on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. While you guys do that, I will tell you about our friends at Brymac Mechanical. Brymak, Brymac.com. That's where you go for satisfaction guaranteed on all of your HVAC needs. They will put you in a position to succeed. They will get you going in your comfort zone as the weather begins to change. Brymak, Brymac Mechanical. So where do you rank the Titans now in terms of the rest of the NFL? Third, says Blake Neely. Stephen Massey says third. Trevon says top 5. So does T. Williams on Periscope. Juicebox says 6. Carlos Turner, 15. Top 5 for Jeff Sawyer. Top 6 for Davidson Crooks. Mike Reynolds says 10th. Steve Haygood says 27th. Well, that seems a bit extreme. If you didn't say number 1, you just a rider, not a driver. Well, here, I don't think they're the best team in football. Let me not gas you up like that. I think it's the Chiefs. I think it's the Buccaneers. And then I think it's the Titans, to be honest with you. I think they're the 3rd best team in football right now. Talking about on paper. We don't know what they're going to look like until they get out on the field. But at this point, I think that they are absolutely a top 3 team in the NFL right now. I think that the Tennessee Titans, if it was the Bucs and the Chiefs and nobody else was particularly close, because I remember seeing my friend Michael Kist on Twitter from SB Nation talk about, if you are not the Buccaneers and you are not the Chiefs, that consider trading for Julio Jones. Every one of you, because nobody else is scratching or sniffing them at this point with Brady and all the talent that the Buccaneers are bringing back with Patrick Mahomes and the way that they've retooled both that defense and that offensive line to make sure that he's not running for his life back there. This is the place that the Tennessee Titans find themselves in. Now, Shrike brings up the Bills. I think that the Green Bay Packers, as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing quarterback for them, I would say that there's a reasonable discussion to be had, given that he's the MVP of the league. O'Grady says, well, you got the Browns, Bucks, and Chiefs. We can't be top. Look at you trying to ingratiate yourselves among the Titans fans. O'Grady, you snake. The Browns, the Bucks, and the Chiefs. I mean, listen, the Browns are as complete. I think the Browns are a top 5 team. I think that Ryan Tannehill is substantially better than Baker Mayfield. Substantially better than Baker Mayfield. I think the Browns have a really complete roster from top to bottom. But also the quarterback makes all the difference in the world for me. I think the Browns are going to be a good team. I'm not sleeping on the Browns. I'm just saying, I think that the Titans have had the best offense in football for the past 2 years when it comes to touchdowns, when it comes to red zone scoring percentage, when it comes to rushing touchdowns, when it comes to plays of 50-plus yards or more. The Titans have been absolutely caving people's skulls in on that side of the ball, and the quarterback has a really, really big percentage to do with that efficiency. For me, the difference is with the quarterbacks between the Browns and the Titans. And I'm not saying Baker's bad. I'm just saying Tannehill is substantially better. Clowney made the Browns a contender, says Stephen Massey. Well, yeah, that's what it was supposed to do for you too last year. How'd that go? Don't forget about the Ravens, says Max Osberg. I haven't forgot about the Ravens. I'm not that impressed. I'm not that impressed with the Ravens, to be honest with you. Buck, all my friends continue to hate on Ryan Tannehill, says Spencer Noel. They say he underthrows people. Would you agree? I would say that is absolutely inaccurate. In fact, nobody in football outside of Mahomes and Rodgers throws a better deep ball than Ryan Tannehill by the numbers, by next-gen stats. It's quantifiably not so, Spencer. I can, if you want to DM me on Twitter, I can provide you some numbers that will, or Instagram, either way, however you would like to communicate with me, where I have a better form to be able to provide you the numbers so you can bring them to your friends and tell them that they're dumb and they're stupid and they're wrong in what they're watching and that they don't know football clearly, because Ryan Tannehill's been ruthlessly efficient in the NFL. More passing touchdowns than anybody in football right now, the Tennessee Titans. More explosive plays than anybody in football right now, the Tennessee Titans. A higher red zone percentage than any other offense in football right now, the Tennessee Titans. More rushing touchdowns. Now, I know this is a different stat that we're talking about, Ryan Tannehill versus Derrick Henry, but more rushing touchdowns than any other offense in football. They're really good. So I don't know who your friends like or what they're watching. But to hate on Ryan Tannehill just means they don't know what the hell they're doing and they don't know football. So that's how you can go back at them. Do you think they will look at adding a tight end, says Lee Hobbs? I certainly do think they will look at adding a tight end, but where that addition comes from, I'm not quite sure. Does this make the Titans the highest paid offense in the NFL, says Chaz Nataz one on Periscope? I don't know that on paper. No, because A.J. Brown's really, really good value. I would have to look that up. I don't want to tell you something incorrect without being able to definitively research the numbers. But where I would rank the Tennessee Titans, I would rank them 3. I would rank them behind the Chiefs, the Buccaneers. I think that they are right up there in the middle of that conversation. The Tennessee Titans are going to be damn good. That is exactly what we are looking at now for Tennessee. Let's move on. Let's put a bow on the show. I know you guys are excited. I know you want to keep talking about Julio Jones, but honestly, I'm gonna have some more time to get in touch with some people. I'm getting phone calls that I need to be able to take, and then I'm gonna bring you some more information on the radio show tomorrow from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. I'm gonna book some great guests for you, and me and producer Lucas are gonna put together a really, really good program for you. So we'll get into this more on Monday morning. But let's do this as a free site. Since we have done the primetime show early, and since our tradition is to do the best thing that I saw on the internet this week, what is the best thing that you saw on the internet this week? And it can be Julio Jones, if you so choose. Let me know in the comments section on Facebook Live, on Periscope, on YouTube, and on Twitch TV. We will discuss together. Show tonight at 8 o'clock still, says Chad. Hell no, I'm not doing 2 primetime shows in a day. You guys better get the hell out of here. What? No, I got to put together a podcast. I got to put together a full week of radio shows. No, prime time. This is your prime time. This is all you're getting from me today. I'm sorry. I already wrote an article, Chad, because Chad is asking me, man, you guys are the worst. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But it's okay. I love you. I love that you guys want to spend more time, but we are not going to spend more time today. This was the primetime show for tonight. So that will be how this goes down. Puka says free site usually Thursday. Not anymore. Not since last week, Puka. We switched things up. Brymac Bounce Back is now on Thursday. So what's the best thing you saw on the internet this week? While you guys do that, I will tell you about the fine folks at Brymac Mechanical. At the Ashton Real Estate Group of Remax Advantage. GaryAshton.com. That is where you go for satisfaction. That is where you go for your dream address. That is where you go to sell your home for more. That is where you go to work with the official real estate agent of the Titans, the Preds, and A to Z Sports Prime Time. Gary Ashton will get you the intel that you need to sell or put you in your dream address at GaryAshton.com. Let me know what's the best thing you saw on the internet this week. The boys are buzzing, says Damon Boswell. That's right. Daniel Gold says, do I like soccer? Sure, but we're not doing a soccer show today. Julio for sure. Julio, says Blake Stewart. Cedric agrees. Buck, why do we underestimate Ferkser? I don't underestimate Ferkser. I think he's properly rated. But that's a conversation for another day. Montana Fours, best athlete for Alabama, says CJ Tyler. That doesn't make any sense. Puka says the Dan Le Batard Marathon. That was exceptional. And you guys know that my favorite, that's the only person I listen to in sports. I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. It's the only sports talk show that I consume, like that I listen to, that I'm a fan of, that I listen to like you guys listen to Primetime or listen to the radio show. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz is my favorite thing in the world. It's helped me. It's how I learned how to do my job, is by listening to that show. I am such a fanboy of that. And they did a 24-hour marathon on Friday, and it was spectacular. A Black says Julio being traded to the Titans. EA says, does Mayweather lose tonight? Probably not. A perfect game in the Softball World Series. Ooh, it was so good. So I watched a lot of the Softball World Series over the course of yesterday. It was spectacular. Tennessee with a walk-off grand slam. What was that? In Friday's game. Now they'll play in the regional championship today. Spectacular work by the Volunteers baseball team. Let's see. What else do we have? Well, I'll tell you. I mean, the best thing, listen, the only thing that is going to be the best thing, is the Titans trading for Julio Jones, at least here locally. That's the only way that we can put things into context. But what I saw in this Julio Jones video that the Atlanta Falcons put out after they made the trade official, it was really, really cool to watch. It's the best thing that I saw on the internet this weekend. So this is a free site.
It's hard to put into words what you've meant to this team, how much you've meant to this city. How do you part ways with a part of who you are?
With the 6th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Julio Jones.
We knew from the start you were special.
3-by-1 look for Ryan. Takes the shotgun snap, Colts blitz. Inside route, Julio. 35-40, Jones 50, Julio 20, 10, 5, touchdown. How about that? Wow.
You made 11 more than just a jersey number.
Hey, listen, we're going to win this game today with effort, man. And the man in front of you, make him quit. Make him quit. Brotherhood on 3. 1, 2, 3. Brotherhood.
It's a cape that makes us feel totally invincible.
Now going to throw. Julio is there, and he makes the catch. Touchdown, Atlanta. Wow. He's going to throw for Julio, who's there. Touchdown, Atlanta.
It's a badge of pride stitched into the local fabric that we will always wear proud. Inspired by your ability to rise above. We witness history.
High formation, Ryan. Play fake, first down rip, Jones, middle of the field. Julio, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 20, 10, 5, 2, touchdown.
He just went over 300 yards receiving.
3 Bills large for Quintorris Lopez-Jones.
It's your rise to become the best.
Ryan wants to throw, Jones the catch.
Look
40.
out!
Julio into Green Bay territory, a stiff arm at the 15. Quick throw, this is Julio Jones, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
The Atlanta Falcons video tribute to Julio Jones. This is a free site. And that's going to do it for this Sunday edition of Primetime. No show tonight at 8 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. The radio show tomorrow, it's going to be bangers only. I've got a couple calls out to my friends Diana Rossini, and we'll see if Diana won't walk us through some of the reporting. Harry Douglas, former Titans and Falcons wide receiver and very close friend of Julio Jones. It'll be so much fun. 10-1 on 104.5 The Zone if you're in Nashville. And if you're not, you can catch the podcast. It's the Buck Rising Show in your favorite podcast app. We'll put together a great 615 sessions for you as well. If you want to submit questions for the Music City mailbag on the podcast, slide into my DMs at Buck Rising on Twitter, and I will answer them on the air. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I've got a lot more work to do. I got to get back on the phones. I got to figure out what the hell is going on. But it's certainly a good day if you're a Titans fan. So congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to John Robinson, man. It's some crazy shit that he's been able to pull off. And it's certainly going to make my workday a lot busier, but I'm going to enjoy it. And you know why? Because it's just getting started. And I'm not tired yet. Let's go.
No!